What's up, guys? Welcome back. Blue Lock Kaiser. So this is one with hands going through the hair. That old chestnut. So I'm on a landscape page. Use a pencil, use an eraser, hit pause. We'll go fast. I'm going to start with his eyes. This eye is kind of cut off, but I'll draw it a bit. Like just so we get the right shape. So I'll draw like most of it, but it goes underneath hair. But we'll start with this one anyway. So very big eyelid lines, right? So we'll just go diagonal and then just bring it across. Now it goes underneath his hair here, but what I'll do is I'll just draw in a little bit of it. And he's got that big spike on the side, but you can't see it, right? But I'll start it here. And then we go sort of down this way, right? And it's sort of much thicker, darker, sort of eyeline shape, right? So it kind of goes down this way then, back up to where we started. So that's his eye shape. The top eyelid line is heavier, right? So it's a thicker, darker line. It's kind of spiky at the front, right? So it's quite dark. Like real thick. Sort of that kind of thing. And he also has actually that sort of red, you know, that's kind of drawn around his eye. Sort of lightly drawn in, and that's the color red in there, but the hair covers it on that side. And there's just another spike there. And he's looking over to the right hand side. So his eye is in the right hand side of his eye shape. So we just go sort of half circle, down and up. Okay. And then his pupils are white, I think, and they're kind of on the more to the right hand side of his iris as well. So we'll put it sort of, maybe not bang in the middle, kind of like maybe here. So it's like he's looking over that way. Right. So then we have some eyelid lines. So there's like an extra sort of eyelid line coming on top, just kind of like a broken line like that. And then he has another one. So he has like a curvy one on top of that one. And then his sharp sort of eyebrows, right? So kind of like a check mark just going back this way. This eyebrow is raised up and the other one is kind of flatter. And there's just a little section that would be probably blonde colored inside. Yeah, little hatching lines there and stuff, but not much. We'll go over and do the other eye. So the eyes are pretty close together because in Blue Lock, the eyes are bigger than standard proportion sort of a thing. So the eyes are kind of close. It's probably like half of his eye can fit between, maybe, just because we're not in proportion. And then we'll go up and over again. And we will thicken it up. We'll just add that little spike up there. And then the spike comes down. Then we go around back in to his tear duct in there again. And then we thicken up this top eyelid line. Some extra little eyeline coming off there. And then he has the red coloring spike. Sort of just like a hook sort of coming down around his eye here. And then his iris, again, a semicircle more to the right of his eye, not in the middle. Just over here. And then his iris, again, kind of not bang in the center the way he draws it. It's just sort of here. Okay, so it just makes him look like he's looking over there rather than right at us. Of course, if you do put his pupils in the middle, it'll just look like he's looking at the viewer or at the camera. Say, if you imagine there was a camera there. So we've eyelid lines on top. And then this eyebrow is kind of lower down, so he's like, it's like lower than this one. He's got like a unimpressed expression, right? So his eyebrow kind of goes flatter on this side. And then there's still a bit of a blonde section that you'd color, so you just do another line on top. And then we got these like little sort of wrinkles and frowns just there. He's like going, huh? Like he's not impressed, you know? Do 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 do. Okay, next. Nose. So we'll do this for like the tip of the nose, right? And then the nostril, just on the other side there. And then his mouth is incredibly small. So it's like up, across, down. You could leave it like that if you want, but they open it up by just going back this way. As if he's sort of talking. Kind of like that, right? And they leave a little gap, I think. They don't really draw in much else. So then his chin is pretty pointy, sort of. Like that. And we get two different lines, right? So the face is slightly three-quarter pose. So we get the jaw over this side. And your jawbone is roughly in line with your mouth and underneath the corner of your eye. And it kind of changes direction there and goes up towards your ear. Now the other side is different. It's kind of like a rounder one. So it's like his cheek. So it curves in and out a bit first from the chin. And then it'll go around his cheek. It's just some manga artists and animes do this when the face is slightly turned, but like not like turned all the way. That kind of thing. So, right, so his earlobe is here. Comes up to his ear. And it goes behind his arm. So his arm comes across here. But we can draw it like it's his ear. It's like, so that's like his ear. But his arm cuts across the top of his ear. And then we got inside ear lines. Easiest way is this sort of letter J. And then this bump in here that holds the sort of black earpiece sort of thing. Do do do. So it's all about the hair, this drawing. So we'll take our time with that. And we've got to get his neck in first, actually. So we'll go, because the hair comes down behind it, we'll go just for the front of his neck here. It's quite a long neck, and then there's some hair that comes across his neck this way, and then his neck goes down that way. And then we got like some neck muscles there. So his hand is like in his hair. So let's see. So his hairline, so like your forehead is roughly the same size as your nose. Say from the nose to the eyebrow. If you come up that much, you can see his hairline just there. It's this sort of zigzag thing. And you'll have like some hair spikes coming down. This way. And then there's some that come like underneath the hand here and across his eye. So we'll just go. So just these. And anything you draw over, you would erase or color over. You know, this, that would disappear. And then we got like some of a sideburn, I think, in there. So the hand goes that way, all right? But then we can see another spike coming out from the finger here. He draws hair so well, the manga artist who does this. I'm not that good at hair. It's amazing with the lines, he makes it look floppy, sort of, that it's has weight. It's cool. It's impressive. And this kind of sits on top of his fingers, kind of in there somewhere. But we will come back to the hand. We will just get the rest of his hair spikes, kind of, that hang down onto his face. This is like another one that hangs down over. Sorry now if you can hear rain in the background. I live in Ireland, so lots of rain. And it's winter. And I can't wait for Christmas. Dark in Ireland in winter. So we've got like some hair texture lines that are like underneath this that kind of connect back to his forehead. So they kind of like swoop like back this way, you know. Like the hand is like here. There's like fingers underneath everything. Maybe we will finish this side first. So it goes there just by his eyebrow, and then there's a part that comes this way. And up there. And then in there. So I think this part now starts to go up, sort of around his head. Like up this way. There's another one that sticks off here, actually. So this just goes up this way. There's more hair down there. It's like fingers in here now. So I think this is where the hand starts, just above this eye. So I'll just stop that there and we'll finish the rest down this side. Oh, and there's an ear in here. Nearly forgot. And then more hair. And some of them are kind of square and some of them are spiky. Particularly down here for some reason. Now if I go too fast, it pauses. Someone recently commented that they watch my videos on 2x speed. Here's me thinking like I go too fast. It's like 2x speed, wow. Fair play to you. Maybe I need to go faster. So we go down there. And there's like, this goes behind his shoulder now, so there's just like some little bits that like, it's the long part, I'll just leave that like that. So, what do we say? Maybe finish shoulders and then deal with the arm. So we got his collar here. Right, that white collar. Just going around his neck. And then we go down for like a black part. And then there's some white lines. And his other shoulder sort of just goes off that way. So it's like white lines of the Munchin jersey. The Munchin jersey. Keeping it family friendly. Munchin. And we go up, down. And then the arm comes down here, but there's like a white circle line kind of for his armpit kind of thing there. I'll do the rose. That sort of black kind of tattooed rose here. It's all sort of angled lines. It's the center. And then there's one underneath these two. Where does that go? This way, I think. Something else maybe going behind his neck. And then there. And then bigger one there. All right, maybe I'll color these black. Yeah. Now, so his hand. So his like the hand sort of starts up here. He's got like this long sleeve top, right? And his wrist sort of comes over it, right? So it's kind of a curved line here. And then his wrist comes down over his ear. Right, and his long arm gets sort of wider at the bottom, kind of like a bowling pin. That sort of shape. You know, that sort of thing. And then we meet his elbow. Just here, and his tricep disappears into his t-shirt there. Might have some hatching just for his elbow joint and some folds along his bicep, you know, for that, the fabric of his clothing. And then, like his t-shirt, so we'll just bring that in. So hair in this gap, just add some spikes in there. Drawing hair, there's a hair on my page. And then, so now this is the tricky part. So we go up this way, and then the bottom part of his hand goes here. And this joins his pinky, which is in under here actually. So it goes underneath that gap. And then the knuckle for his index finger, so it's kind of like this bumpy sort of line there, like a stretched out M. And then we go up to his knuckle. Again, another bump that way. So we can see his pinky in here. So it goes like that way. Right, and this must be it. I thought this was a gap in his hair, but that's actually the top of his little finger. So we get another knuckle just starting here, right? And then there's hair. So we got hair coming down, right, over this finger, his ring finger, and his middle finger as well. We'll just do these sort of hanging down here. Right. So then this finger goes out from here. It looks like anyway. And then the next finger. So where is that? So it's like here. We get another little hair spike. And then tip of the finger there. And the bottom of this finger goes down that way. And then I think this is like just the rest of that hair actually. So then this is, I think this is just like hair roughly in there. You can't see, his pinky is kind of covered there. Some knuckles. I think we get like fingernail sort of thing happening there. So I think that's the hand apart from the tattoo on the back. So it's the sort of, it's like a heart with a key or something, or like a crown with a key in it. So let's see. Bumping. Down that way, and then there's an end to that, and then there's all these details. So there's like a black part down here, and then this is like a keyhole, and then lines that come out around. And then there's like little dots here, but 1, 2, 3, hard to do them. Colored black around, maybe. They'll probably disappear with the ink now. And then there's like some spikes for the rose, you know, the stem. And then stars up here. That sort of thing. And that, I think, is everything. Kaiser. Hope it's helpful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.